Testy, 1, 2, 3.
No, it's funny because right now this is actually recording.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Hello, please.
I better start all these. There we go. Got those going.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
Oh, what's going on here? It's showing that something's disconnected here.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. To support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. And to bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. That I will obey. The orders of. The President of the United States. And the orders of. Those officers. Appointed over me. According to regulations. And the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining us. Josh with Odin's Outcast. Got a few other vets in here joining us tonight. We're just more or less going to hang out, shoot the breeze, talk about the fundraisers that's coming up, and a couple other things. Just so new listeners know, it's more or less a lot of the things that we're doing through Odin's Outcast and more or less through the veterans community is trying to reach out to other veterans and let them know that they're not alone, you know, getting them tied into resources, whatever that may be. A lot of it's we're getting people tied in with like the Hope House down in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Livingston County Veterans Services, the Ann Arbor VA, just acquired 2 houses. That's what we're actually doing the fundraiser for, is to draw funding up for renovating those places. So some of you new listeners, they're out there, more or less we're getting out, trying to get people picked up, tied into resources, getting them off the streets and trying to give them new hope. So we've got Blake out there waiting on Jimmy John's. Big guy's hungry. So, and then
It's a lettuce wrap.
it's a lettuce wrap. So, and then we got Shay in here from the Fianna Group.
How's it going?
So, and then we got Mr. Curtis Penny. I said it right this time. I said it right.
All right. Hey, how's it
I've been
going?
jacking that up.
I know. Well, that's what it was funny because we had a conversation the other night. He was at the house and like Jennifer's sitting there asking him, just like, so what do you want me to call you? And like before he could even answer, I'm explaining why I was calling him that. And she just kind of sat there and was like, uh-huh. And she looked right back at him. So you want me to call you what now? And you're just like, Curtis is fine. So
Every
and
time
then
I see him, I'm like, Piney.
well, there's I don't know. Anyway, it kind of caught though, didn't it? Everybody
yeah.
like, but anyway, and then we got Jason over here, which
Justin. I've only been here a couple times. Let's
know.
go. Should I turn my chair around and sit in the corner right now?
no. So Justin, I'm just messing with you. So Justin's been doing a lot of stuff with this. Actually, we met at the Brighton Harley Davidson. So I met over there and met through Parrish and a couple of guys.
It's been really good ever since then, man. It's been enjoyable.
Everybody's doing a lot of different things. Actually, we're actually running the camera, but I don't have a live stream set up yet because we're still trying to figure out how to do some of this stuff. Making sure I'm getting Justin in on the shot there. There we go. So sooner or later, we're about to start releasing little videos and clips of some of the, not just in here, but some other shenanigans that we've been up to. So evidently, I guess
The model shoot out at Jill's place.
Yeah, I guess I've been told a couple of times I suck at social media, and it's just like, well, if I suck so bad, I think actually your boy was one of them. I was like, if I suck so bad, take
Hammer.
it over, dude.
Yeah. We
like,
do got to get Hammer on that. I think he'd like that.
I'm doing hard enough just keeping up with Instagram, you know, let alone sitting there trying to keep up with Facebook, Instagram, and everything else. That's, oh, yeah. Hey, Peaches, I need to give you the login stuff, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Peaches is going to start working with some of our admin stuff on the Facebook page.
Very cool.
I backed off of it. I was like, it's just too much to juggle.
It's like one of those things that, like, even in the stuff that I'm doing, like, I know I'm supposed to be on there, but I hate going on there because, I don't know, there's like a period of time where it just seemed like it was just nonstop arguments of stuff I didn't really care about. And I was like, man, I remember when I used to go on here and I'd find something funny to laugh at or
Right.
just whatever. So I took a huge
Takes a
break.
180 on you.
Yeah, so I just took a huge break from it. But I know it's like if you're going to get information out there, see, everybody's got a phone. Everybody can, pop something in, look at it, check it out. So
Well, it's kind of a necessary evil in some sorts. So definitely something I definitely want to capitalize on a little bit right now is because we've all been working really hard at this is the fundraiser that we're going to be hosting January 27th. It's starting at 5 p.m. at the Deer Lake Athletic Club. And we're stoked about it because right now we've got an invite out to George Parisi, waiting on him to get back with us after the Thanksgiving. And for anybody that don't know who George Parisi is, he's the assistant director for Defense Suicide Prevention Office, which is an office that was established back roughly around 2014, I believe, to combat veteran suicide. So we got the opportunity, and it was truly a pleasure to sit with him for like 3 hours the other day, like a couple of weeks ago.
Like,
I mean, he
very
was
genuine. Like
29 years as a pilot, as a naval pilot, and he's in a position now where I think it's like 4 people between him and the president or something.
We should ask him to go play volleyball.
Stick him up with baby oil and be like, come on, you know how to do it,
Dude, I got a
Maverick.
pair of jeans in the car. We just ripped this sucker off and started getting down. It's
I mean, it doesn't just stop with him, though. I mean, a lot of these lists, like we got confirmed with Joe Riker, Army and Navy veteran.
another solid dude.
Very solid cat. Works for Congressman Bishop's office. He was with liaison, if I'm not mistaken, with Livingston County Veteran Services. So now he's their liaison and point of contact. So he's going to be there. State Representative Pete Lucido, he's coming. It's actually really cool because of the simple fact that some of the bills that he's currently pushing right now to the House floor that luckily will be there in a couple of weeks with this guy's ugly mug.
There you go.
It's sitting there, different things for a lot of issues that's been going on around the state of Michigan and actually around the nation with service dogs. People basically hosing veterans over. So it's accountability. It's an accountability bill. It's setting a set standard, within the state of Michigan, and hopefully it rolls out across the U.S. to where there's a set standard and obedience training that's mandated with all dogs. And if you do not have a proper written program, you're not going to get your certifications within that state because we've been noticing that a lot of people are donating dogs out and giving dogs out, stating that they're one thing when all they're doing is they're spending a couple of months with a dog and then turning around and buying a vest for it and selling it for $20,000. And like a veteran just found out in Lansing, he gets this dog and goes through all this stuff for this company to get notoriety, and then the dog ends up trashing his house and then attacking the veteran. So, I mean, that's definitely something that everybody's really fighting for right now to prevent and stop and get it stopped dead in its tracks. So, and then
I should read up more on Pete. He's one of the guys I haven't necessarily met yet, but everybody that I bumped in, this group of guys here and the extended group have spoken very highly of him.
He's a pretty stand-up guy. I haven't directly talked to him. A lot of it's been back and forth through email. Jason from Prevention Concepts is tied in very deeply with him. I mean, like they're good friends. They're whatever the case is. And then I have talked to his legislative team, and I mean they're good people. So
you're on camera, right?
Oh man. Hey, Dave, when you actually get this part, can you edit that out? Yeah, whatever. I'm having spasms in my neck is what's going on. And then we've got the awesome Deborah Henson coming in to speak with us. She's going to go ahead and be one of our guest speakers as well. So anybody that doesn't know, she's going to be, what up, Matt? She's going to be, honestly, I say she's going to be the front runner for the Ann Arbor VA for the director position, and I think most of the Ann Arbor VA would agree with that statement. Currently, she holds transition care team manager, and she should be the perfect model of how much heart and dedication an employee or a manager within the VA actually puts into the system, because she's truly amazing with the things that she's pushing and the things that are getting done and achieved. And like, whether it's our organization or any other organization, you contact her for any needs or anything. And if you're willing to back, I
like to say, if you're going to put in a disability claim,
possibly
you contact her.
She would get you in the right direction. Yeah, she definitely would. And they specialize in post 9/11 veterans, so which is primarily a lot of the things that we're targeting is going after a lot of these younger vets that are struggling, and try to be more preventative than we are reactive.
Well, it's always good, like when you hear, especially someone like in the VA, like you're getting good reviews inside there. Like, you don't know, that could be hit or miss. Like you could just be working the chain. But when you hear like people from outside of the VA singing their praises, that's typically a good sign.
She's one of the only reasons why I kind of haven't just like given up on the VA, truly. I mean, because running into people like her, and it's not just her, I can't say just her, but I mean, like, there's doctors in various places that when you run into certain people, those key people or key, pieces in their system that's keeping everything going. Those are definitely the parts of the machine that are running perfectly, and they're just needing help with, getting some of the other parts charged up or replaced, and I mean, she's definitely not one that needs to be replaced. She's one that they need to go ahead and pull out and figure out, well, how did we build this thing? We need more. Yeah. So, and then also our friend, Dr. Phillips. She's going to be another one of our speakers. She's the executive director for the Fallen and Wounded Soldier Fund. So, and she's going to come in, and that's what, more or less on the Dr. Phillips side, and definitely told her to boast a lot about what they were doing with their program with the Fallen and Wounded Soldier Fund. It's like, you guys are phenomenal. There's two other organizations, us and Prevention, or it's mainly Prevention Concepts, putting this on. It is Prevention Concepts, and we're assisting them and whatever. But like, explain to them, explain to her, the way all three of our organizations work in tandem, just supporting the veterans, that there's no better purpose.
We've done a really good job of doing a lot of the groundwork, as far as, I don't know, is this thing?
It's on.
All right.
You're just trying to get back. You can bend it to you.
Here you go. I'm going right in. This is gonna look funny on there. I better angle that one down. That one's like a little weird. Coming in hot on that one. But laying the groundwork down, like, instead of just going out and marketing, I think kind of like our generation, you take a look at a lot of the nonprofits that did pop up. There's huge marketing campaigns. Yeah. And, if it looks cool and you're not really, aware of what's going on, you're like, all right, well, that's where I'm supposed to go. But they've kind of gone underneath the radar. But anybody I've ever bumped into, I've never heard say a bad thing about the Fallen and Wounded Soldier Fund.
Never.
No matter what side of the coin they're on it, whether they're being helped or whether they participate or if they're
They just bought a veteran a car that just got delivered, like, on our way in here. Like, they were sitting there talking to a veteran up there in Flint right now. They drove up to Saginaw, picked him up, brought him down, and the Fallen Wounded Soldier Fund just bought him a car.
Is that the Navy vet that's
Yep.
up there?
That's the Navy vet
awesome.
we've been working with up there. That, I mean, he deserves it. I mean, but and then our friend Matt Hatala, president of Fiona Group, and he's not famous, but his dog is.
Only his dog.
Only his dog. His dog is a freaking war hog, dude. Like, his dog is awesome. Matt just got lucky with getting placed this dog towards the end. Shay and I talked about this on the way in.
That's right.
Because originally they had it on there, hero Matt Hatala and his canine, partner, whatever. And I showed it to Matt the other day. He straight up, he was like, dude, I didn't do anything. He goes, my dog rocks. I was just like, all right, cool, gotcha.
That's a solid dude.
Yeah.
Like Matt.
Yeah. And then it's going to be pretty cool for anybody that doesn't know who Dean Caldrone is. He's like this renowned guy for training dogs all over the United States.
This
like,
is one Jason's been working
yeah, coast to coast. He's actually signed a contract with Prevention Concepts. He's going to be moving up here after the first of the year. They're getting a second residence to start training every dog that's produced through Prevention. He already does, but considering right now, like, I think they've got like 6 different dogs right now. He called us on the way in here and said they just took another one. I'm just like, dude, you need to chill, you know. Hey, you're going to end up with like 20 Rottweilers running around your house trying to get them in for training. I was like, back off.
Can you imagine like coming into that, like, let's say you just happen to be like, I wonder what's going on in that house. You open up and there's 20 Rottweilers. They're like, yeah, it's like,
and not just small ones. These are all like
Right.
150, 200-pound Rottweilers. They're just like bouncing around. And, well, they do it because they're trying to teach them inside manners, you know. So
Right.
he'll start taking them home to teach them manners on the inside of the house and stuff, and then start getting them used because they are big, clumsy pups. So you get a big 200-pound dog that's excited to run around your house. There goes your table, your recliner. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Kind of like me when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as a kid, really?
Wow. Still big and clumsy.
he comes over, I put bubble wrap up. You know, I Blake proof
Put
it.
corner protectors on
That's
it.
what my friend, they said they had to Blake proof the house when I came over.
Wreck it, Blake.
Yeah, buddy.
So, and then he's going to be doing a really nice training seminar demonstration up there, which is really cool, actually, because we're going to do a lot of noise and visual distractions throughout the entire banquet. And while he's actually doing his training seminar, we're going to actually have everybody inside the banquet interacting, trying to do what they can to distract the dog while he's going through the command process.
That's cool.
Just to show people, you know, the quality of the training on the animals.
That's definitely putting your money where your mouth is, man.
For sure.
I mean, that's it. I mean, you've got to be able to do it.
You know, stimuli.
So I'm just so definitely
DBDBD.
keep an eye out for a lot of that stuff going on. But then outside of that, what'd you guys think of the? Yeah, all you guys were there. Well, Blake wasn't for the for Coach Haas, the horses, the equine therapy. What'd all you guys think about it? Quick shout out. That was a shout out to Coach Haas.
I mean, that was a pretty, I don't know, unique experience because I've never been around horses that much. And just walking around them, like even that evil one that attacked everybody.
You had like a horse pheromone going off or something.
Yeah.
You know, like the whisper. Shay, I think Shay was wishing that he had some of what you had going on because he walked in there and they like scattered away from him.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was kind of noticing something with Piney when he was going in there. I pointed out a couple of times they were getting pretty excited around Peaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they smelt the peaches.
Might be it.
I got a kick. I honestly
it was
got.
relaxing. I mean, that was.
Yeah.
I had a lot going on going into that day. Just stuff that I was trying to get lined up, think about. You know, so some of those things. And I was also trying to relax at the same time, but just how she started that out. And by the time that we left, I mean, I was almost like sleepwalking. I was so relaxed. It was just kind of cool to be out there, that open space. It was quiet. I mean, the horses were just, it was just kind of cool to see them interact. Not to mention some of them had some issues, which is, I don't know how you really put that together, but it's almost like a mirror image. Like you had 5 guys in there that all have pasts, have things that they're kind of dealing with where you might say, oh, well, they might be damaged or this or that in a certain way. But, I mean, hearing some of the stories that these horses had gone through and then just seeing how interactive they were. They weren't, like, chippy or whatever. Like, they definitely kind of, it was almost like a mirror image. Like, they would kind of give you the space and figure you out and then approach when they wanted to. But once they got comfortable, they got comfortable.
No. Yeah, I was noticing a lot of that too. Just getting out there, and it's like when we first walked up, I was like, "Okay, what's going on here?" I thought we were just here to do something real quick.
I thought we were going to be riding and stuff. I was like, man, just don't get tossed off. It was a muddy day, and I was like, man, I'm going to get.
Oh, Clay came fully prepared. I think the only thing he didn't have was spurs.
Yeah.
And then, we were picking on him the whole time, too. We were just
He
like...
had him in the truck.
It was a cold day too, and he had just like a real thin pullover, and I mean he was just hands in pocket, just to look like he was walking everywhere he was at. But he's definitely dressed the part for it.
I was getting a kick out of it. I actually enjoyed all of it. And and that's a lot of the stuff going back and forth, why I like trying to introduce everybody with Jill, because like she is an amazing, amazing resource for anybody to have and recenter. I mean, just because getting out there, and it doesn't matter how amped up or excited you get when you get around like animals that size or around animals, it just something about it just relaxes you.
They definitely weren't small. I mean, they had some miniature ponies and the burros and stuff like that, but I mean, some of those horses were pretty sizable. You're kind of craning your neck looking up at them.
Yep.
And had the issues. I mean, like, what was it? The one didn't have either one of its eyes.
Yeah.
One was a retired police officer after like 20 years or something, and that's what I got aggravated about. I was like, y'all just like put him out here to pasture, literally. Y'all just like put him out there. It's like, all right, go hang out.
Tagged future glue or something.
Yeah, and then you had a horse with no eyes that just kept walking in circles.
That other horse, I thought that was cool. Like if you, I don't know if you read it. I think what that other horse was called, Mr. Handsome or something. But like that horse was actually caretaking the horse that didn't have both of its eyes.
Yeah.
And would like literally lead it around and walk it around and kind of take care of it, which. I don't know how many animals you see really do something like that. It's kind of more or less like fend for yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
But that whole kind of like pack mentality and how she said there were sentries and obviously, the alpha male that was in there or, whatever, kind of controlling the scene. Like every pen that we went to, you could see that going on after she pointed that out, which was interesting.
Yeah, that alpha male one that was going to bite everybody, he just screamed in my ear when I was up next to him. I thought I was getting bit. That was nuts. And, of course, every one of us just comes walking up. Well, I can touch this thing. I ain't worried
Well,
about it.
the one at the end where we were walking just like screamed across.
Right across this little fenced-in area there.
I was standing there I was like, oh, cool horse. She's like, after I backed away and everybody else, she was like, yeah, you probably don't want to pet him right now. I'm like, where was that warning when I walked over? Just gonna let me lose a hand or something? But,
Like all of us were still trying to pet it after it like spazzed out through the fence, and she just runs over there like, no, don't touch that one. It's like, well, why not?
I want to play too.
Yeah.
no, it's a perfectly applies to everybody else, not me. I'll just go ahead and
Nice. Well, and there's definitely, I mean, actually, I can give this one to you over there, Mr. Shea, to talk about a little bit of what Fianna Group's doing.
All right, so Fianna's a veteran-owned and operated company, security company. We only hire vets. Teaming up with Odin's, basically with in conjunction with what you're doing, getting guys out the street, get them homes and stuff. We also want to employ them, be a hand up, not a handout, and try to build that community that I feel like most of us are missing, doing the same stuff we were doing before, having those transferable skills that maybe you don't find in the civilian world, and just trying to ease that transition and build a community and put out a good product.
Nice.
You could definitely see that after that event that I think was that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, at Grow Green.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then we went to Captain Joe's afterwards, but you could see the camaraderie. I mean, you had new people in the group, but it didn't seem like it mattered. It just kind of reminded me of being back in the barracks or whatever, just BSing, having a good time.
That community is everything.
Yeah.
For sure.
Especially when it comes to employment too. I mean, like being able to feel comfortable where you're at and where you're employed. And like it was kind of funny when we first sat down after the event. There was like somebody said like, "What are y'all, a bowling team?" And I was just because everybody's in like matching polos sitting around the bar. It's just like no, but okay, yeah, sure.
We'll roll with that.
And I worked that event with them, and for the first time in a long time, like even though it was a real easygoing, smooth going event, it was comforting to know that I was working with people who know what I know.
It's a common goal.
Yeah.
Task at hand, get it done.
Yep.
And don't let him downplay a lot of the stuff. Anybody that's listening on what they're doing, when he's in there saying security service, What I mean, from diamond transport to arm transport to cash drops to security guards for locations, stand-in guards, roving guards, security dogs, security layouts, security overlays, TVAs. I mean, more or less, they're empowering veterans to get back in and use the skills that a lot of people don't possess, and allowing veterans to really capitalize on that and creating careers.
Transferable skills.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Like when I sat down with you guys initially, just talked to you about some of the things that that I had or have going on. I was really interested in the assessment piece, like the ability to not only walk in, but to kind of create packages of saying, okay, well, where are you at financially? Like how important, the questions that came with it was like, well, how important is this right now? Like where are you at? So there was like a base package, a middle of the road, and kind of like an evolution.
Yep.
But even I thought was kind of interesting is that the setup of creating that and then actually trying to, I wouldn't say assault your location or anything, but infiltrate your location. Of just saying, okay, well, let me legitimately put you in here. We're going to kind of come in and see if we can't get in here without you knowing, or different ways that you might not necessarily think about. Because I think when most people think about security, it's that, okay, well, you've got someone posted or camera security. And it's just like, oh, well, that takes care of everything. Well, what if you're not putting it in the right spot? What if there isn't a need to have an actual armed security guard there because you could put your assets somewhere else? It just seemed like a responsible approach. Yeah. And then even coming out to that event, I mean, it seemed really chill. And, you can say what you want about, the people that were there or whatever. I mean, if you're doing security right, you should get that sense of being like, I feel good to kind of move about and roam around. I walked around for a good 10 minutes when I got there looking for you guys, and I couldn't find you guys. And I was like, damn, why can't I find these guys? I ended up running into Josh, not you.
Colton.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, where are these guys? And all of a sudden he's like, there. And there. And I started looking around. I was like, that's good. Kind of like out of sight, out of mind. But you definitely were around, which I think is good. I think people get, typically standoffish when they see security or whatever. It was well run.
Well, that's what, today it was like back-to-back meetings, and that's what run around doing stuff. And just seeing the excitement that's on the horizon, like the joint ventures and expansions, or I guess like partnerships between like Has Hemp Colorado to Fiana, actually bringing, hemp to Colorado, or hemp from Colorado into Michigan. And that's more or less for more of the research bases and more of the, to get ahead of, more or less to start working with the market to try to figure out, if everybody's in there saying, that you want alternative means for, for medicine, then that's your first start, CBD. So, and they're actually seeing these guys work hand in hand, and they're saying, okay, well, you guys decide to branch out here. We're going to provide you security services. We're going to provide you security overlays. We're going to provide you dogs. We're going to provide you everything we possibly can to ensure that you're 100% safe coming out here. And just seeing, seeing them do that, and then what was that one facility? 495,000 square feet.
Huge. Yep.
Wow.
That they want us to come in and do a layout for, and start giving him the TVAs for. And we're just sitting there just like, roger that, and same thing. We've got another one. It's actually pretty exciting. Former stay guy, an old salt dog from Kosovo, that we've been just kind of bumping into each other along the way. I got meeting with him, I think next week. He's sending over blueprints for stuff, and so anybody that's listening right now, I apologize. It's more or less like everybody's trying to scramble right now, get all this stuff going, so that way more than less, it's going to be a giant boom for veteran employment, like right around the first of the year.
I think slow growth is, that responsible growth. Not just blowing up where you're taking, random chances on people, but it's such it's kind of one of those things where you're going, why hasn't this, and I know it's been done in some other places, but, why hasn't it been done more often when you put vets together, you know, and no matter what the service is, I think sometimes it's hard to get onto that service because you might not understand it. You know, let's say like if you were going to go in and set up, you know, a financial plan. Well, if you don't understand it, it can seem scary to you, and you're like, well, I don't even know if I trust this person.
Right.
You know, but it's like, okay, well, I know the background that you come from. I'm from something similar. Like you put it in, you know, dum-dum terms for me. You know, I think, you know, some of the
Break it
guys
down,
that-
Barney style.
Yeah, so some of the guys that I was like working with, they were like, well, why don't
Maybe
you just
crayons
set up
if
the
necessary.
security? Yeah.
Love crayons.
I like the blue ones.
Yeah, I like grape.
But they just assumed that I knew how to do that. And I was like, look, I got to do a lot of interesting things in the military, but doing these type of things, I you know, that wasn't what I was doing. Could I set it up and write off of some basic, you know, tactics that I understand? Yeah, but like, how applicable is that? And then not also understanding, well, what's my lane like as far as compliance? Like, what can I do? Like, not only like for the security part, but for me as the owner. Like, what am I allowed to be able to do that keeps me out of any legal repercussions and things like that? So I think the ability to kind of speak the same language, I mean, allows for that comfort level. I think, honestly, you guys are going to blow up into something really big just because I think a lot of companies are looking for that. Like, just speak my language. You know,
That's
give
right.
me something elaborate and a bunch of
We cracked a
acronyms
few
and things like
smiles
that.
on the last one. I mean, like, but I think that was just, you know, idiocracy. You know, just saying random stuff.
Yeah.
So when he was there saying, like, he said something. What did he say? He was saying something about like, when we were talking about the rapid response, that it's actually right now they're in the process of securing 5 locations. They've already, well, I keep saying they or we or whatever.
Yeah.
But they've already secured one in Detroit. It's 3 stories, if I'm not mistaken, and they're installing a safe, like a big bank vault, and all kinds of crap in it. Well, we're looking at other locations, and each one of the locations are going to be primarily focused around not only the doing transports and stuff like that for the armed services, but also rapid responses to where we have our standing, you know, guards. And they were just sitting there, and like every one of them, like when we start talking about, there's like, so what are you guys going to do that the police officers aren't going to do? Well, considering that we've got clear access to the buildings, we're going to go in and detain them until law enforcement shows up.
Sure.
Well, what if? And we're just like, you can just stop with the what ifs. All you need to know is we're going to enter that building and detain whoever it is and secure the asset until law enforcement shows up. And it was like, oh. And it's like, all right, so you want on-site security or off-site security? You want guard dogs, attack dogs, service dogs? You want a chihuahua? We'll give you a chihuahua.
Comfort dog.
So you want a pinky finger? We'll give you a pinky finger. Have it to you by 11 o'clock.
Well, I think one of the other things cool is that the fact that you guys do hire vets. You know, that
right.
you're veteran specific. Because I think a lot of guys, you know, when they come back and you don't understand your skill set, they immediately think that you got to go into contracting. And it's not to say that if you have or you haven't, that, you know, it was good or it was bad, but it's like you're providing opportunities to something that's very familiar. You know that skill set. Like, I don't care how long you've been out, you know, especially in this era. You know, everybody has gone through that combat training.
Oh, yeah.
To deploy training,
right.
it just sticks in your head, is that you don't have to go overseas to do this.
No.
Like, there is such a high need for security and quality security, you know, with communication and being able to manage that and have that consultant to be able to come back to you even as you evolve. You don't have to go overseas to do that. You can have a good life and enjoy what you do and provide a service and feel like, okay, well, what I do is important.
That's right.
And
So
on
I
top
think
of
that's
that,
pretty cool.
if you, I mean, even as an outsider, if you hear, oh, well, this security company is owned and run by veterans, actually the owners are Marines, they're going to go, yeah, we're going to go talk to them.
Yep, that's
Like,
what
no.
we're getting to. So
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going on right now.
Let's take
I mean,
They,
it really
because,
is.
I mean, that's,
It's like, who are your owners? Former Marines.
Marines.
yeah.
And they're just like, oh.
Yep.
You know, it's just like, all right, well, what's your employment? 100% post 9/11 combat veterans.
Yep.
Oh, okay, so, okay, well, let's move on.
Yeah, right.
Like, they're
You
just
know,
sitting there
I mean,
like,
the name kind of speaks for itself, and obviously, I mean, I was lucky enough to go on and work with them, and we legitimately had a good time. We still got our job done, and it's like I said, it was awesome to be around other veterans and just kind of, back into the old swing of things.
And
I just think as long as, like, as much as you guys are going to grow, like, I just think of what entails security. Like, you're going to have that, manpower or, right on the front line. But, that evolves into logistics, communications. Like, there's multiple positions that I see coming out of this that, you didn't have to be a ground pounder in the military to come work for you guys.
Nope,
There's a need as it grows, and you can take that skill set and grow. And not only that, but, like, you're running into other people that have had multiple experiences since they've been out. Hey, I did this or did that. So, like, your knowledge base, like, just listening to everybody when I initially got there and hearing where they came from and what they've done and where they've been at. I mean, there was just a wealth of knowledge just sitting there, and it's like, one of the things that I enjoyed about the military is you're constantly learning.
Yeah.
Some of it was, obviously very repetitive, but to be able to learn.
Death by PowerPoint.
All right.
And I just jogged something loose right there.
Well, I mean, that's even with some of the training programs and some of the stuff that's going through right now with that's being written and getting certifications through the state and, the NRA certifications, and then actually going as far as trying to get DOD approval on some of them, with actually establishing them, because that's going to be the biggest thing. The biggest downfall right now is, like you were sitting there saying, so, like, I went yesterday and had lunch with a guy, former team guy, he's one of our, board of directors, and they're sitting with him for a little bit, talking with him and stuff. Well, he's informed me, and we're just kind of, going back and forth, just bouncing each other, and he's informed me of a couple other guys that are coming back, and when we're sitting there talking about some of the stuff, and it's like anybody else when, like whether it's me, him, them, anybody that's actually spent time going back and forth multiple times, there's going to come a point in time to where they love the gun, they love to lift, they love to do everything, but they're tired of being away from their families. They're tired of going back and forth across that pond. They're tired of doing all this stuff. So giving those guys the opportunities, even some of these guys are struggling and stuff. Granted, it's not going to be one of those things where we just pick them up off the street and get them a job immediately. Yeah. It's going to be the full assessment process to where that's where prevention concepts and the transitional housing, working with the VA, working with Livingston County, working with the Salvation Army, to where we can get these guys off the streets, get them transitioning, get them working with counselors, get them working with social workers, financial advisors, lawyers, like Comorn Law, stuff like that, that's willing to provide pro bono time to veterans that we send the assessment through. When you get all these guys doing these things and then say, we can get them housed for 30 days in Livingston County, then we turn around and push them into Washtenaw County with the Hope House, owned by the Salvation Army, getting caught up through the VA system, getting everything they need, and then collectively as a group, between Odin's, Prevention Concepts, Salvation Army, the VA, everybody running individual assessments, at some point in time, they're going to say, hey, this guy's ready for gainful employment, or he's not. And that's when it's time, hey, have you thought about getting back into the same line of work? That may be the lost camaraderie, that one piece of glue that they needed that just had them fall apart in shambles.
Well, I think that assessment piece is key, because I think, when you initially get out, if you've ever experienced a no when you're going for employment or for services, is, the initial reaction is to tell that person to F off, or, they don't have this, or their intentions aren't this, they don't know what I'm going through. And really, like, at that point, you hear the word assessment a lot. And it's just like, I hope that the vets that are kind of going through it is, are you also doing that self-assessment as well, and asking, well, why was it a no? Because a no isn't necessarily a bad thing. I've had my own experiences that where I looked at it and I was like, man, I really wanted that, but I wasn't really looking at, was this a good fit for me? Was the timing right? Was I set up to be able to take, these things on? And the more you can become self-aware, the more you can avoid, getting a lot of no's and getting a lot more yeses that are actually applicable to you. So, like, if you do go for that something, you know, go for that job and you get a no and things are unstable, why are things unstable? You know, am I feeling a certain way? Am I financially a certain way? Or things like that. So, like, I'm hearing multiple levels of resources where you can go and say, okay, well, I need to get to my start point and climb back up. For others, it might be very fast, and some it might be slower. But I think if you take the time to do that self-assessment and approach those services correctly, you know, you're not as liable to fall back into that difficult routine. So,
and kind of circling back too, is that's how Fiona came about, is getting out, and all of us, we're either in or try to get in the contracting game. That's the only avenue we can go in. And you hear that no, which 3 out of 4 of us did. Where do we go from here? Putting out that those skills are transferable in the civilian world is huge. And let's bring them in, let's get them to work, and they can use those same skills. We can build that community, and then you're in the same boat as, you know, going overseas doing that same thing. But you're here, you're with your family, and you're with a good group of guys.
Right. I
think
mean,
the
it's
opportunity to cross
a
them, too, is huge.
it's a comfortability.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when I first got out, the civilian world was not a fun place to be
No.
for 6 to 8 months. Yeah. Just everything was irritating, and because you're so used to a structure, everybody's accountable for your actions, what you say, your job. Where going from that to being shoved into a civilian world where
You're doing the work of like 5 people combined.
Right, because they see, well, this person knows how to work, they can work hard, so we're going to go ahead and give them more stuff, and then other people slacking, and it just physically eats you.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of it is, like Shay said, transferable skills.
Well,
you can use what you learned.
It's a good baseline.
Because no matter what, you know, what they say in the Marines is, no matter what your job is, every Marine's a rifleman. We all know how to pick up a gun and do what we need to do if we have to do it.
That's it.
But like Justin was saying, you have IT, you have tech, you have comms that are gonna
Motor
be-
T, logistics.
Exactly.
You know, just-
Those are jobs that are becoming to veterans, which there's not a short of in Michigan.
Actually, let me back that up. Sorry, Motor T, that position is filled.
Yeah.
Sorry about
No
that.
boat spaces.
Yeah, no spaces for Motor T. I'm not trying to say it like that, but we've got an amazing guy that's doing all of our fab work.
Really?
He's a former Marine. He builds race cars right now for a living.
Nice.
So, I mean, Joe. So, I mean, he's...
But still, I mean, I know I just walked in on this, but I mean, right offhand, I can think of MPs that have been driving around a lot of places. Your truck drivers have been driving around a lot of places. So if you're recovery guys and they know what to do in those situations because they've been under ambush attacks before and have to react to it. So
For sure.
they've got plenty of their skills on their own way.
Well, being able to re-engage that ability, you know, one of the things I've always heard about myself in any position that I've been in is like you have an interesting ability to stay calm in very pressurized situations or very stressful situations. And I joke about it. I'm like, well, I've been in a lot more stressful situations
Right.
than this. Like,
Right.
I literally
Mine's
look
more
at
just
it,
a smash out of the
And
situation.
see, to me,
but I also see it around
Josh
the table
smash.
too. You know? It's
right
not-
there, like that's just a bonus of having it veteran base. Because if you go with hiring a civilian and they've never been through a stressful situation, even security companies, I know from living in Flint for how long I lived there, they had guys that would do like one shift and it would be like, oh, there's an armed gunfight and a drug deal and I have pepper spray and a CB radio. Fuck this shit. I ain't doing nothing.
Nope.
So it's like there's a difference in between the two there. So even the people that maybe, you know, they weren't a combat MOS, they weren't registered into that field, they're still a good selection from having one side of the employment of it. Whereas if you're going into the other side or different jobs of it, of course, yeah, we're looking for combat arms. We're looking for guys that have done this and that. And, well, I mean, I'm even thinking bigger picture now. We're looking at EOD. I mean, we can look at even a place where we're doing events.
No.
You know, you show up, hey, we got an event and we need somebody to do it. All right, well, I'm reserved. We got these EOD people that can recognize stuff, walk through stuff, and that's a strain of it. I mean, it's all just different fields of where to go.
I think that also helps security, like, all around, too, you know, because typically for those events, what do you have? You have, you know, a task force from a local police department or something that's going to come in and sweep that area. Well, that's great, and they're trained, you know, to do that, and it's not taking anything away from them, but, you know, that could be, you know, manpower on the outside, you know, because as much as what's going on in the event, and that's important, you know, there's a lot more people coming in the event, going around the event, being able to put more assets on the street in a, you know, setting that they're familiar with, to be able to bring in a specialized group to be able to do that.
Well,
I mean, I
me
think that's a
personally,
huge
I
help.
know that if I'm sitting there doing anything security related or protection related, everybody else on that team better be a veteran, better be watching my back. Because if I get into a situation, I'm not going to have time to turn around and wonder or grab an earpiece or something
Like,
and
hey, get
say
here.
what's going on. These guys need to be observant and be trained to be able to watch everything and observe a situation before it even starts.
And I can think of two different ways to even thinking about it right off the bat. Like, for one, we had an incident where there was a bunch of veterans hired to do security, and it was an electronic music carnival that went on up in Michigan, up in Clio, Michigan. And
Isn't that like the Electric Force or something?
yeah,
Yeah, it was
they
something
did
like
that
that.
stuff. They hired, I can't remember how many veterans to do it, and they never paid them. They told them they were going to get $15 an hour for the entire night of working, and then they supposedly said, oh, we gave it to this one guy who was supposed to give it to everybody, but then he just pocketed it himself. And we know the guy, and we know it's bullshit because he never got the money.
But karma works its way out.
Yeah.
Tony, you know, Butler, I'll go ahead and throw your name out there. That's what happens when you rip off an entire staff of veterans. Because what happened, not even a month or two later, he fell through a roof, broke both of his legs, shattered his hip. And I think it was a
That's
month
what you
later.
get. That's what you get.
His illegal grow operation got raided.
Yeah, they got
So, I
shut
mean,
down
like
by
that-
Flint. Went
So I'm
and
just
raided the
saying,
whole
like,
thing.
hey, Tony. Oh, and I think he's got people looking for him in Colorado and
Couple different
California. So if anybody's looking for him, he's hanging out up in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, he's a great Flint businessman. He has no honor or dignity within himself. But
just,
anyway,
yeah,
but my other
and-
one, I'm sorry, my other one was just a good example how Snoop Dogg came to a place in Flint and did a concert after he did his concert in Detroit, and there's a veteran security company that was doing the security there, and they had it locked down. So they're partying with Snoop Dogg the whole night as he's DJing, and what's his name's up there doing it?
Who's that?
You know what I'm talking about? He's the one. He's the one who I know. You know what I'm talking about because he's the one who came down to Medical Mondays and got with whatchamacallit after he owed him the $40,000 for his security. And so you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of his security company, but it starts with an M. He's a veteran. There's an old
he's
man.
not.
He's not?
No, his dad was.
Oh,
and his brother
okay.
was, but he's not.
But he's still got that same way of running the way he does his
Yeah.
security, and that was another good event, how that stuff works out.
Oh, he ran a tight ship. He
Yeah.
did.
They did have that old chaplain that worked with him. That's the
Yeah.
guy I like. Yeah, the old man working with him. He was a real
Preacher.
nice guy.
They called
yeah.
him Preacher.
What was he? Korean War?
No, I think Vietnam, and I think he was. I don't know. I think he might have been a chaplain or something.
I thought it was chaplain Korean War.
I don't think he's that old.
You don't think
might
he
be.
was?
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
And just to let anybody know that's actually like looking for some of the stuff. This is. Should I go ahead and you've got the job descriptions? I just thought about it. I was like, I've
Plug it.
actually got it on my laptop.
Plug away.
Let's see. They're looking for this Fiona group. What they're looking for. So if anybody's looking, go ahead and reach out to these guys. Looking for threat protection specialists to assist in various goods for clients. Doing threat assessments, arm transport, arm support services, asset protection, threat vulnerabilities, cyber exploitation, counterintelligence services, and numerous other things. Now let's see. They've got, here's some of the responsibilities and requirements. And let me see if any veteran out there that's post-11 fit any of these.
I have a
let's
feeling
see.
all of them.
Provide protection, personalized. Well, that's okay. That's responsibility. So let's go ahead and ignore that.
You just throw that one out the window. You ain't got to worry about that one. Forget about it.
Hello, guy.
Observe and report any suspicious activities. Everybody knows that one. I mean, you're sitting there watching out for the enemy. Provide protection, personalized for the client's needs. Same thing for your teams, your firm bases, whatever the case is. Remain accessible for emergency movement during off-duty hours. Go bag.
Yep.
May require operating an ORV. Okay.
Oh, shoot.
Protect assets while in company possession. Easy. Ensure assets remain secure at all times. Easy. Ensure safety of all cargo, clients, and employees. And then other duties may be required depending on it. So they're looking for shift leaders, vehicle commanders, threat protection specialists, armed guards, unarmed guards. And your basic requirements for these, ladies and gents, must have a minimum of 4 years military experience, EAS, after June 1st of 2003.
Yep.
So you're targeting post 9/11 veterans.
Yep.
Must possess strong communication skills, written and verbal. Piney, you're out.
Wait, it didn't say anything. It
Ex-
doesn't say anything about reading, though, right?
No.
Perfect.
Well, none of us can read.
No, I'm actually surprised you're going on.
You talking about that shit with all the letters and different colors and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Chemistry. That's the one with all the
see.
shapes and shit,
You've
right?
got to have a
yeah.
valid driver's license. That's a must. I mean, that's kind of a given. You've got to be able to pass the PEB, which everybody knows what PEB. It's a physical auxiliary or what is it? Physical exam battery or something like that.
Yep.
It's physical efficiency battery. You've got to be able to pass a background check because
Or
honestly,
the PFT,
Yeah.
yeah,
for
right.
those of you who don't color.
Yeah, PFT. Let's see. Anybody that's got a LOA with TSSCI or equivalent, you're definitely getting moved to the front of the line. Anybody that has got a CPL or CCW, you're definitely preferred move to the front of the line. And if you have CPR or EMTB, EMTI, EMTP, anything like that.
Combat lifesavers.
Combat lifesavers, anything like that.
CLS.
Yep,
Yeah,
you're
I got
getting
that.
moved to the front of the line.
I've had that 3 times.
Nice.
So, I mean, it's out there, and with a lot of the stuff that they're actually
last
doing.
one was with the active bleeding dummy.
And you
So-
actually go check all that stuff out on our website, www.theafionagroup.com.
Could you spell Fiona? Because I know some might be out there.
Going, F-E,
That's like Beyonce, but backwards, right?
So it's
Sorry.
FINNA group.com.
Yes, sir.
FIANNA.
Yep.
Yep. TheFionaGroup.com.
Yep.
There you go.
So,
And for those of you who can't put it together, there are jobs out there awaiting for you. You just need to apply.
Yeah.
that's it. I mean,
Jobs, people. Jobs.
No, they're everywhere. I mean, it's not just with Fiona. It's, I mean, a lot of these unions. I mean, you'd be amazed at some of the guys that we're trying to get in right now, and you know that's one of the big hurdles we're seeing is there's more people that are trying to be picky on what they're getting instead of just it's like, man, you're not really in a situation to be picky. If it's a hand up, bro.
It's not
like,
a handout.
You're giving them like 3 different job options, saying, okay, well, you can do this one for $20 an hour, this one for $18 an hour, this one for $12 an hour.
Well, I think sometimes
Yeah, but how big's our business card holder for jobs that we can get for veterans?
Oh man,
What about half inch, quarter,
Oh.
3/4 inch?
I would say probably a couple of inches right now.
yeah.
Well, I think
Oh, we
it's
gotten
also
bigger
too
than ever
is,
known, man.
when you're assessing like what you want to do in life, like where you want to go, where your next step is that obviously everybody's got financial obligations. You got to be able to take care of yourself, but sometimes that $20 an hour job isn't really the job that you want to go after. Maybe that $15 an hour job
Exactly.
is better because there's room for growth. There's things that you can get into, like those gaps, and not doing your research on that. When you're sitting there and you take that $20 an hour job and you're like 5 years later or 3 year later, whatever you want to call it, and you're going, you start getting a little salty because you're like, man, I'm busting my ass. I'm not getting an increase. I'm not getting that. Well,
Sounds like my job now.
If you would have got into it, maybe you got some of that interview training and went to resources that give that, you would have learned to ask the right questions. You would have said, okay, well, again, is this, it's an interview for you as much as it is for them. Like, are you a fit for me? Is this where I want to put my time in? Because that's
Right.
the most valuable thing. Once you give it, you can't get it back. So I think, getting over that, well, I deserve this, or, this is what I should be making, or things like that. So looking at the opportunity and saying, okay, well, look, I'm in an environment with a group of people that I can excel with, that I can grow with. There's, it's a growing company, so that means there's going to be opportunities for me. You're going to get what, you're going to get out of it what you put in. I think that's something else that, I don't want that to get lost when we're talking about you guys, because I can see that, and I'm kind of from the outside looking in.
Well, not only do we have room to grow, but we also have continuous education, continuous training, room for you to keep moving on. So, there's always room.
Another big thing to keep in mind too is flexibility of scheduling, because if you've got anything from a single dad, a single mom, or a family that now all of a sudden doesn't have a job and has the 1 kid to 4 kids, I mean, that's a big thing for any veteran coming out at looking for a job, even the single guys.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I mean, what am I going to do? What shift am I good at? Well, I fucking stay up late the best from this to this, so I got to start looking for jobs.
Right. And
That type of thing with it.
And on top of that, you're going to be working with guys that think the way you do, that talk the way you do.
That's got to be the best part, right
exactly,
there.
because I went out before that event. I went shooting with Shay and Matt, and we sat down, went and had lunch and talking about, we all know what bad bosses are like. We all know what working for bad people are like, and that's what we're not going to do, because that it's who wants to work in that environment.
Yep.
Right.
It's you want to work with people that are like-minded, that you can sit there and BS with and shoot the breeze, and at the same time, at any given second, like you were talking about, they're gonna have your back.
Yep.
Like that's military. You don't even have to like another military member, but you have that mindset that we all have, is no matter what, I got your 6, you got mine when shit hits the fan.
Well, these guys are, you guys are, not just because you're sitting here and I'm trying to, pump your tires or anything, but you can tell when you guys meet, when you meet you, is that you're well put together. You guys are well put together. You guys know your stuff. And I think that's a welcoming environment. If I was getting out of the military, I just think where I was at when I got off active duty.
Mm-hmm.
I literally came off of a deployment, came back home, so I had that that adrenaline pumping,
right.
but I also didn't know where to channel it. I was still looking for a little bit of that guidance, and if I was transitioning out now, being able to sit in front and work with, and I think that's the key too, is work with, not work for.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Work with a bunch of people that are going to provide that structure and say, okay, look, I don't expect you to know everything. I want you to know this, and then develop that. That's, again, that similar structure of being in the military, of being able to grow with time and get that education and get that leadership, which, you're seeing a wide range of leadership styles, but also at leadership levels, like where you exited the military is, that's key, because if you didn't get a chance to elevate maybe to an NCO or to whatever level, you never got to see that flip side of the coin when you're getting
Right.
stuff from the bottom. You're like, oh, this guy's an idiot. They don't know this. They don't know that. You also don't know what's being put out. You don't know
That's
what
right.
the resources are. You don't know what's going on. So, yeah, at the bottom of the poop pile, it might sound like a dumb idea, but when you actually understand and you're at that level and you can be exposed to that, again, it'll
Full scope.
broaden your range of understanding and whether you do that for the rest of your life with Fianna Group or anything else, like getting that understanding will help you accelerate in other things in your life. And I don't know, that's just what I hear, from everybody. Obviously I recommended Blake over to you guys,
Yeah.
and it was an awesome fit. But one of the things I was just impressed with without having too much interaction with you guys was your ability to follow through. Exactly. Jesus Christ.
What?
You said follow through.
Well, and
I was like,
What was that?
jumped up, was getting ready to like.
How the hell that getting here?
and
I did exactly what you said you were going to do. You're like, we're going to call him on this day. We're going to bring him out. We're going to do this. And I followed up with Blake, and he's like, yeah, you've already called me. I'm already set up. Like,
It was exactly what I was told, and
you did what you said you were going to do.
and how many of us, and even people listening, how many of you guys have? Oh well, we're going to call you on this day, or we're going to set up an interview for this time, and it doesn't happen. Like mismanaged companies are not few and far between. They're abundant.
yeah,
And that's one of the things that I when that's what I would expect from Marines is if nothing else, we're punctual. Like if you're on time, you're 15 minutes late.
That's
And
We were talking about that earlier. We had that meeting, and we were
Marine
30
time.
minutes early, and I was like, damn, man, we're even early on Marine time.
See, that's Army infantry time too, as well. I mean, you got
Man, this fool's been late for 4 days now.
15 minutes prior to the 15 minutes prior.
Army don't know
Yeah.
how to tell time. What are you talking
hey, we're
about?
gonna get
horse
we're gonna get to
shit.
the armory at
I got-
03:45 to
I
pull
got
weapons at
there-
5:30.
I got there exactly
That's
when
the
I needed
biggest
to be
part
there.
about every one of them.
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
got
have to
there
end this
exactly
live
when I needed
feed.
to be
I'm going to get up at
Actually, quite a few followers
3:45
on this.
for my 7:45 briefing, for my 12:45 link up for my 1300 SP.
I still remember those times in Bamberg, Germany, in the wintertime, being out there
Sarah,
45, 30
Lynette.
minutes early and just going.
Jules, Laura.
Fuck am I doing out here?
There's all kinds of folks on there.
But it gives you time to prepare. But again, I don't know. It's not. Again, I'm not saying it because you're sitting here. It's just every interaction that I've had with you guys. From Clay to Matt to yourself. Any meeting or social event or just events that you guys are working, it's at a very professional level, but it doesn't come across like how you would expect the yes sir, yes ma'am.
Yeah.
It's very interactive. Like you can tell you guys are
Mama
building
Browder.
relationships, So.
and that's what we pride ourselves on. I mean, we're not going to kid ourselves. We came from that same situation that you were talking about, getting out. Went from Afghan to my parents' couch in less than 5 months.
Right.
I mean, it's tough. We all went through it, but we're here, and now we want to run it the right way.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to do.
And when I say professional too, I'll also be remiss if I didn't include the napkin basketball beer cup challenge.
Yeah. Leave
So
that
this was
out.
going on like no, that's good. I mean, like at the same time, like you get a different group of people in there, and they might think you're disrespecting the place. The bartenders were having a good time. The staff was having a good time, but I think that's also key too. Is when work's over, is being able to decompress. Where they say leave work at work. When you come home, come home.
Right.
When you're at
Yeah.
work, you're at work, and sometimes you can't separate that too, but that ability for you guys to watch you guys decompress and literally go about your business. Again, I don't see a whole lot of. I've worked at mortgage companies, I've worked at logistics companies, nonprofits, things like that, and when I was at that nonprofit, it was a veteran nonprofit, and that was the only time I ever really experienced of going out after work and really decompressing. Like
Right.
I don't know what you guys did after formation you ever got, but typically
You
for
just
me
dipped.
we all rallied up and kind of got the BS out of the way.
We're
Yeah,
still trying to
so
find a good
go.
range. for
Hey.
that reason, and that's one of the things when I'm sitting there trying to get everybody together on Sundays, and that's the reason why is so we can start figuring out that decompression to
They
where
have
like
that one right in Brighton, right?
yeah, but it's
No,
like
they just built a new one in New Hudson right off the highway, and they have 3 indoor 100-yard lanes.
They have
come
that-
on, we're back to 100 yards. I'm not trying to BZO anything. I actually want to get out and shoot some
I
damn
thought-
targets.
I
Well,
thought the one
there's
out in Brighton
the-
was 300 meters,
Howell.
like 300-meter target.
Why is it so
How-
impossible to find a 1,000-yard plus range anywhere?
How
Like,
Sounds
what's
like
wrong
we
with
need to
people?
build one.
It sounds like we do. I mean, I think we can
I've
squeeze
been
that
thinking
into our
about that
budget.
for
That might
years.
just be zoning.
Well, it's funny because like the money that these people are throwing around right now, it'd be really easy just to slide in an extra $100,000 and they just
You
like,
buy my property for the cemetery I got in mind, and I'll add a range onto the end of it. You ain't got to worry about it.
She's like, did I just get that headstone?
Whoa!
I can see someone coming out
Targets.
to visit, like, their parents or, a loved one and being like, why are
Shoo!
there bullet holes, impact marks on my dad's tombstone or whatever.
What was that?
Nah, I wouldn't worry about that.
That was close. It was close, but went on.
Is that there's also been a stigma. I mean, we went to that PTSD seminar, a week and a half ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
And their big thing, and I don't want to get off topic, but they had one of the little snippets that they had in there was getting guns out.
Oh,
of
don't
people's
get me
hands.
started
I
on
don't-
Yeah.
I don't want to go there, but I'm just saying, like, I think
It's
no one's
therapeutic.
really wanted to touch it, but as more veterans have come back and it's showing, like, look, I'm not going to tell you, let me show you how responsible I am with something that I was intimately involved with. When you talk about
Right.
anybody
Right.
who's in combat arms, and you might be in something else where you were able to put your hands on weapons, a lot. When I say you intimately get to know that, you intimately know that weapon of what it can do, what it can't
You
do.
respect it.
And that's one of the funny things is right now with them, and they're saying that, like, you pull statistics up for a lot of veteran suicides, and that's what I was talking to Scott about. It's nothing more than a gun control agenda, because the simple fact, you actually pull statistics of most of your veteran suicides, and yes, you do have guns involved, but compare those numbers and statistics against, like, hanging deaths, against accidental overdoses, against prescription overdoses that are due to the VA.
Just
Yeah.
like that guy in New Jersey a little few days ago. He just used gasoline right in the friggin' ER of the
Going,
VA.
yeah.
Well, this isn't where, because I didn't want to go that route, but I'm just saying, like, here you have a group of guys, a group of vets that do understand that I know how to be responsible with a weapon.
Yep.
And it's not the fact that so much that for me that I feel like I need to protect myself in that sense. I live, like I told you, I live in Plymouth. I call it Mayberry.
It really
I'm
is.
not surprised that the police officers have one bullet and they're,
A baton and, like, a
around.
1920s revolver.
But I
Right,
mean, it
Barney
is.
Fife.
So I don't necessarily feel that, but it's like. I
Oh,
went
no,
out to
not
the
again.
range With Scott, and that was fun. It was good to just blow off some steam. And I remember those times in the military where I was having a real, shitty, crappy day, whatever you want to call it, and then it was a range day. We were out all day on the range.
Seems like that was
shooting.
every 90 days you would have that range set
But
up.
that was awesome, just to go blow off some steam. Not to mention, like, again, the ability to share stories, or at least be able to talk, interact, like maybe pick up some new tips off of people.
Positiveness of it, just like the feel of it.
It's
Like,
therapeutic.
It's
For
also
Yeah.
a competition. You remember sitting there
Oh,
with
yeah.
people
Oh,
that were-
yeah.
they were hitting
Oh, yeah.
targets or whatever, and they're
like I'm
yeah.
still sitting number 8. I'm still sitting number 8. Oh, fuck, I finished 23. Shit.
Well, that's what, like, when we went out, like, everything turns into a match. Like, when we go out there shooting and stuff, like, we were just going out there to sight in the rifles a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't shooting. I just didn't want to shoot. It was just like I was going out there for the purpose of sighting in a buddy's rifle. His dad couldn't do it. They supposedly had all these, like, professional sharpshooters and marksmen. They couldn't.
They
figure
were at
out.
a shooting competition, and there was guys couldn't even
these-
sight in this scope.
Yeah, something's wrong with
going
this
all
scope.
over the place.
So then, Buddy, he tries to sight it in, and I think he was more inside of his head. He's, another Marine, and he was just like, dude, I don't know. I couldn't get it. The group was all over the place. First 3 rounds, I was just like, so where's it shooting? He goes, dude, I'm not even hitting paper. I don't even know. And I was like, all right, went in first round. Boom, tagged it. I was like, wait a minute. Sit there and did a mill holdover, second 2 shots, keyhole bullseye. I'm just in there like, dude, ain't nothing wrong with your rifle. I'll keep shooting it, but I mean, ain't nothing wrong with your rifle, man. And he was like, oh, son of a, and then I'm sitting there. I wasn't even shooting, wasn't doing anything. Then he's over there shooting his. He was like, yeah, see how I'm shooting with mine? Why don't you go ahead and shoot mine? I'm like, no, I'm good. Why not? You scared I'm going to outshoot you? It's like, all right, cool. Ting, ting, ting. He was like, all right, whatever. They turn around and Piney's over there shooting his pistol. So he goes over there and like Joe's sitting there. We go start shooting the rifles.
I'm breaking in a new Kimber
and
ST.
Joe's like doing his draw, sitting there shooting. He was like, man, I'm pretty bad at pistols. And I was like, yeah, you got to really like stay on top of your pistols because it's easy to fall off your game on pistols. And
Put 200 rounds in the lower right corner,
was
though.
sitting
There's a nice little hole in that thing.
He said something, and he was just like, let's see if you still got it. And I was like, all right, let's see. And then pop, 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 pop. He was like, all right, never mind. Then I was like, that's why I don't shoot, because I know you guys are going to get mad. That's why I shoot by myself. Earlier in the summer, we went shooting and did the same
outdoor
thing.
ranges, too, is like the ability to kind of do more of a rapid fire. You can't do that indoors. At least the ones that I've been to, it's...
Yeah.
They don't want to hear that because obviously it's a cause of alarm. Maybe someone's.
There's the one I like up in Lapeer because there's no range control to it, but you can do long distance shots, but you have to like block off the road that goes across the range in order to get your shot.
That's my kind of place.
It's a range or somebody's backyard. They're just
No, literally, it's a chunk of state land that they've cut into a hill, and so. I don't know. I'd probably say it's about maybe 50 to 70 yards long across it, and then it ranges from 25 to 50. But there's guys that'll block off the entrance, and then they'll go sit way back in an open field and make long shots out of it.
I think you could bring a lot of people in as far as like connecting. Not just vets with vets, but. Because you got to think we're 1% of the population.
Right.
You can't.
But we
isolate
trust each
yourself.
other a lot more than we trust others.
I
Absolutely.
do understand that, but the ability to maybe connect outside of that network
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Of just, I know every time that I run into Scott that he's like, man, I wish I had a place where I could just go out and shoot with you, or shoot with my cousin's husband, Alex, who's a state agent. He's a Marine as well, but. Connecting those people, and I know for Scott, as much as it would be just for, the shooting part and being able to do that, with people that he respects, but the ability to kind of, bring it down on a common ground and hear stories, like, where have you been? Not stories like, well, tell me about, firefights and stuff, just tell me your story. Like, where did you come from? People that are genuinely interested, not so much of the euphoria of the military, but really respect it and what those men and women do is saying like where'd you come from, like how'd you get into this, like what made you sign up for this, like they're interested in the mentality of that, but that also gives veterans the opportunity to open up someone who isn't involved, that genuinely wants to be there, wants to hear your story, that isn't.
And you're breaking down that negative stigma too.
Right.
And that's it. And I think we were, who was that earlier? Oh, that was me and Matt earlier talking about that with the number 22. That, whoever started that, granted, it's a low number, but whoever did it, they just created one of the most massive stigmas on veterans known to man.
Yeah.
Because with them listing that number and giving an official number and everything, which is a false number, but with them providing that number, it looks like veterans are unstable and they're out there killing themselves and they're out there doing a lot of stuff. But the numbers are skewed. The system's broken on how they're getting the numbers. But if you actually look at it, it's not like a lot of these suicides aren't necessarily intentional. If you actually run a lot of the numbers, and somebody's trying to give me a BS story the other day about everything's reported back to coroner's office on deaths, and they've got to report back to the state and everything else, so the VA can actually capture 100% of all deaths by veterans. And I was like, then why is there such a massive lack? Because this is a CDC. So why is it taking, what is it? They said they're just now reporting numbers from 2013 or 2014. So why is it taking the CDC, a federal agency, and why is suicides and veteran, population going to the CDC? First of all, why is it taking them 4 or 5 years to populate those numbers, and why are the numbers so far off? You know, because if you actually, they say 22 a day. I mean, like that's, if you actually take the national average on how many are actually going down a day right now, it's unbelievable because of accidental overdoses, because of all kind. We just had one a couple of months ago that was going through Veterans Court. You know, that there's a gap between, you know, his treatment and everything else, and he thought he was okay, and he just had a couple of days and ended up accidentally overdosing. You know, now how is that classified?
Well, if you also look at, you know, when you've got a problem and you're looking at something else to deal with it, you know, whether it's alcohol, whether it's prescription drugs, whatever the case may be, you might not be trying to kill yourself, but you might be trying to run so far away from what it is that you need to address.
Yeah.
And you
know,
start
it's
building
kinda
your
like one of those
tolerance,
things,
and
like
then
if it, you know, when you're trying to figure out what to do, well, which one scares you the most? That's what you need to do. Which one are you avoiding the most? That's the one you need to get off your plate to kind of relieve it. Is that how many men and women have done that and just didn't know what their limit was? Just kind of kept going because it's a spiral effect, not necessarily want to.
well, you want the
achieve
immediate
that
relief,
result.
like
Yeah.
alcohol and everything else. So
Right.
somebody gets amped up, you know, and they're just like, they pop a pill. It's not working. They pop another pill. It's not working. They pop another pill. And before you know it, they've already swallowed about 10, 12, and they're washing it down with the 6-pack of beer, you know, thinking there's like, all right, this will kick it in. And then once it all kicks in, boom, they're hitting deck.
I remember this is completely off topic. It kind of made me think of this. Is that I had a buddy come up from Georgia, and he's like, "Oh man, cannabis is legal in Michigan and everything." And he's like, "I want to really try one of these vape pens." And so he like takes it and he hits it. Then he's like, "Oh, I don't feel anything." He keeps hitting it, and like 10 minutes later, he's just sitting there like kind of rotating back. I was like, "Do you understand how this is like broken down? You know, this isn't like, you know." You got to give it a little bit of time, but I mean, it kind of, you know, goes to that just a little bit later.
Exactly.
I mean, and that's, I mean, seeing the real issues, I mean, being out there, I mean, everybody can sit there and talk about statistics all day long. And that's what you know, when we were sitting there talking with George and like Deb Henson and Dr. Phillips and everybody
He
else.
was very honest too. I mean, he was very.
Dude, you better show me some hard numbers and some hard evidence, because I'm sorry, but I've lived in a lot of places within U.S. I've worked with organizations. I've been volunteering for years, you know, on my off time, traveling back and forth overseas. I've seen it firsthand. I know for a fact exactly how many guys. I know how many guys took their own lives out on my unit. I know that the things that got my fire started right here in Michigan. So for somebody to sit there and say, well, it's this, it's that, it's this and that, dude, pull your head out of your ass, get away from your office for a minute, and actually go out in the streets and go out there and see real numbers, real people, talk to people, meet them, and see what the biggest issue is. The issue isn't a lot of things. It's being forsaken or them not having a task and purpose.
Well, you can't take such a narrow approach on something that has many broad, you know,
There's
causes as
facets,
to like maybe
yeah.
why they're doing it.
Again,
So
while we were
it's
going back preventative.
exactly. So I mean, it's, you know, it's.
Start a year before the out process. Start running financial records to make sure that they're not, you know, they haven't dived their credit while they're still in.
And part of this
You know,
too is
start
like,
doing
you know,
psychology assessments.
Yeah,
you know,
TAPS is a
start.
joke.
Dude, 2 weeks. It's a job fair, dude. That's all it is, and
it-
that's what we were talking to George about.
Yeah, you go in and you sit, and they run through, and they have some people come in and ask you if you have your resume ready and this and that. But it's very, very surface level. It's not really preparing military members for veteran life.
Well, you also got a lot of companies that, and I mean, this was exposed like probably like mid, you know, between around 2005, 2006, it started getting exposed. Is that you had a lot of people where it was cooler to get that veteran-friendly sticker, you know, just by being at it, them paying to have a booth and saying, yeah, we're supporting, you know, military. It's like, well, how are you supporting? Are
Right.
you just coming to the events, or are you actually hiring? Like, how long are you retaining them? You know, if they left, did they leave on their own?
Well, I think a lot of people
Keep
are onto
records
that
of it.
though. They've been onto
Yeah,
that
they
for
are, but I'm just
years.
saying, like, it kind of goes back to those why they are considered of a joke, and then you saw this rapid decline in attendance because it was like, I'm taking, you know, maybe I only have, you know, $20, and I mean, we ran into this when we ran the trucking school, is that maybe I only have $20 to my name, and I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to eat, or do I spend this on getting a bus pass to or a cab to get to the location of this, and to go through that and go through 100 to 200 employers, and literally what is available is almost disgraceful. Like you're talking about very like base level jobs for people that have really great experience. Like,
Well, yes and no,
might
because
get
you also
scooped
got to
up.
look at it again. That goes back to the stigmas, and it also goes back to the fact that nobody owes us anything for volunteering for a service. I
No.
mean, we spent
No,
4
it's-
years
I'm
in
not saying that.
a service industry is the way I look at it, and the way a lot of, because I was that guy that was sitting there like overseeing the region, and honestly, if you were a vet, obviously I was giving you priority. But if you didn't show me something in the interview, or you didn't show me something that
Right.
make me want to hire you, then I'm going to the next applicant. I mean, I'm not giving
Well,
you
it's gotta be-
anything.
it's
The
gotta
only
be
thing I'm
fulfilled,
giving you as a veteran is the respect to come in front of the entire stack of applicants
Yeah.
for you to, within 30 minutes, to tell me why I should pick you over these other guys. And if you just say that because I'm a veteran, I learned a bunch of, stuff in the military, and it's going to be like, you've got about 20 more minutes to come up with something better than that, because
Exactly.
30 minutes your deadline.
Just
I get
because-
it being fair,
Yeah.
So I don't want to make it. I totally agree with
Yeah.
you, because I have sat in front of some vets, and again, we're not all perfect. Like, and sometimes you just need a little bit of retraining on how to approach that. But the more I got involved in it, the more I got exposed to it, the more I saw very qualified individuals that were articulate, that could go up and handle themselves, applying and never hearing back, and literally just going through. And I understand, through 2007 to 2013 was just extremely tough, just in general. Like, everything was just, up in arms, So, like, if you got something, you were excited. You were just excited to have something and go for it. But I'm just saying, going and actually vetting out the companies that were there and holding them accountable, there just really wasn't anything there to do that, to be able to say, okay, well, you've attended 50 different events. How many veterans have you hired?
Right.
Are they still there with you? And
Like,
again,
that
like
should
being
be-
able to kind of follow back on that, because if you're just paying for the space because it makes you look better and you get business off of that, like I knew companies.
That's 99% of the companies out there, though, dude.
Yeah.
Look, I understand that. But
I mean, that's mortgage companies, that's car companies,
but if you're
that's
gonna put
service
money-
companies.
And I'm not putting it all on them, but I'm also saying, like, for the ones that are holding events, like, if you're going to put that much time and energy and you're going to bring your demographic out to these events, like, you've got to do a better job of vetting out who's there. And if it isn't, if you're not finding those companies, then just don't hold it. It's better to just
Yeah.
individually work that and put them in contact, saying, hey, look, company A is going to be holding a hiring, fair specifically for this.
No, it's
You
not
don't wanna do
necessarily
that.
just that, though, either, because it could just be actually the quality of applications and resumes that are coming in. But on the same note, if you get 20 applications in and you've only got one position, you're going to take the most qualified position, person.
Absolutely, but if you have an initial, like I'm talking about, like companies that have George saying, we hire vets, we're going to hire X amount. And this is like when we did like our hiring fairs at the truck school, is that
Yeah.
we would bring them in like at the beginning of training and say, here are the companies that are looking to hire. They've committed to X. They're looking to hire X out of here. And then after they were done, they would interview with all of the employers that we brought, right? And then afterwards, we basically have our, AAR with the employers saying, okay, what'd you like? What didn't you like? How could we improve this? What candidates, are looking
Yeah.
up, so that we could actually follow up and make sure that it went kind of soup to nuts on that end, and then be able to follow up with them. I think when it gets so big is that it's just harder to control and maintain, that you can't manage that process. I'm just saying, when you're going in there, like if you're deciding that, if this is an event I want to go to, take the time to look into the companies, like see like what their track record is. Like, you can typically call an HR and say, hey, look, I see you're coming to, the Detroit Veteran Expo. How many open positions are you looking to hire, for veterans, yeah, it does create a little bit more work on the front end, but it might save you a lot more time on the back end.
Yeah.
I would just be proactive about it.
Well, yeah, you definitely have to be proactive and can't wait on the jobs to come to you. I mean, like, I don't think I've ever waited on a phone call. I mean, that's the way I am. I mean, and a lot of guys that sit there and think that, okay, well, I applied for 10 jobs. I'm just going to sit around and wait on one of those jobs to call me back, or
Be proactive. Call the
You have
companies.
to.
And not only does that show initiative, it shows that you're actually interested in working for that company instead of, well, I might be okay at this. I'm going to put an application and I get it. Sometimes you get in a spot where you need a job to put food on the table and pay your bills. But if you're looking for something that's worthwhile and substantial, be proactive. That's one thing that I've learned I've been out since 2011. And over the last 6 years, I've worked a number of jobs, just, seeing what I liked. But every single one of them, every interview that I had, I got hired for because I was calling, hey, I know you said you were going to give me. Yeah.
Opportunity for a no, reducing that.
Exactly. And the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If they show that you're putting initiative into working for their company, that's good in their eyes.
Yeah.
That was something that we did too.
Like he's eager to go to work. He
Yeah.
wants to go to work.
Yeah.
He's not going to sit there and wait on one of us to call him. He's
Yeah.
going to keep hounding us until we just make him go away.
Right.
So it's
It's
just like,
either-
all right, either give this guy a job or fire him and block him, one or the other.
Right.
Give them
It's
something.
a surefire way to get an answer. So you know whether you're going to be working for this company or not, and you're going to be wasting your time, or this is somebody, you might have to wait a week or two so they can get things together for you. That's okay. But know what your position you're going into.
Nobody believes me on this, but it's how I got the job that got me tied into doing all the work and got me moved into Michigan. And Will Donaldson and Roy Howell will both attest to this. Roy Howell's the area manager for InfoSource, or was, and I don't know, they're big wigs with InfoSource and Quanta and all that stuff. I got finished doing all this stuff. I walked in there, seriously, went back and forth with the VA for probably about 6 months on my voc rehab, trying to get approval because I just, resigned from overseas. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm coming home. Took a little sabbatical, went on vacations, come back, started signing up for school and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, you know what? I want to get into fracking. I want to get into drilling. I want to get into project management. I want to get down there and run some fracking sites. Didn't know anything about drills, not a clue. Got it approved through the VA for doing a voc rehab as long as it was at least 30 days and I could give the training program to them. They would approve the training. So I was going back and forth with them. It got to the point where the voc rehab was going to pick up, I think it was like $20,000 of the training. I was about to pay the other $30,000 out of my pocket to do a month-long training session with running Vermeer drills. So I was in there, and when I went into Vermeer and talked to him, it was like, yes, I will give you $50,000 for a month to train me on this drill. And they're just kind of looking at him. It's like, what is wrong with you? It's like, I want to learn how to run these drills, and then I'm going to head down to Southern Ohio, and I'm going to start running job sites. And they're just like, seriously? I was like, no, I'm dead serious. Here's the authorization letter from the voc rehab, and so they're showing this guy was like, just wrote down a name and address, said, go talk to this guy. So I go in there, walk in. I was like, you guys are the ones I'm supposed to be talking to. I'm needing to hire somebody for the next month to train me how to do this, this, and this. Little did I know, he's actually the big wig for the entire region, and his boss is sitting directly behind me. No, I'm sitting there talking to him. He's in blue jeans, a T-shirt, just looking like any average Joe. I'm sitting there, like, so who do I need to talk to get this thing moving forward? I'll sign whatever waivers, what kind of insurance do I need, blah, blah, blah. He's like, so let me get this right. You're trying to hire us for $50,000 for a month to train you how to run a drill. I was like, yes, sir. He goes, do you realize just for one drill and 2 guys and teaching you how to do that with trucks and everything else, you're going to be looking about probably $40,000 a week? And I was like, oh. I was like, all right, well, hey, can we work something out? And he goes, yeah, follow me real quick. He walked me straight into the receptionist and just handed me an application and said, I'll see you Monday. You better have this filled out. You're starting work. I was just like, all right. I wasn't really looking for a job. I'm trying to go to, 4 hours away from here in the mountains and work. And he was like, you don't worry about that. You just show up. We'll get you all the training you need.
Wow.
And here it is, a couple of years later, I ended up getting kept getting promoted to where I ended up coming into Michigan and running the region, and then finally just walking away. It's just taking that initiative and drive to where I was sitting there calling helmets to hard hats, nothing. Calling every union, railroad, trucking companies, everybody that I could think of within the state of Ohio, and couldn't get anything. The only thing I could find was working for Victoria's Secrets for $97,000 a year, traveling with their executive protection team, and I was guaranteed to have off 7 days a year. So you're trying to justify.
Is that a job you really want to?
Well, I had a couple of buddies that were doing it, and like at first in my head, I'm just like working with models all day. Yeah, and they were just like, "No, dude, no, you're not with them. You're doing this. You're doing that. You're doing this. You're
7 days a year off.
7 days a year.
What?
Off. Run the math on that. Yeah, so you're making about $8 an hour traveling all over the world.
How about no?
Exactly. So it's just like no, and I talked to another security firm out of New York, and when I actually went up there for the interview on that one, and I was sitting there and had some really big, intimidating guys in there, and I was like, nice, dude. These are, these serious dudes. Come and find out, European football players.
Sure.
I'm just sitting there like, okay. All right, so like where are your skilled guys at? Like where's your skill set? Like who are you guys? I'm just like, all right, this sucks. All right, well, hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and take that job with you guys, to go ahead and start out there in construction.
It also sounds like, too, that you walked in there, like, you had a plan, you were prepared, and even though you didn't know anything, like, about, you were looking for the training, you know what I mean? Like, again, a lot of employers are looking, do you have your stuff together? Like, are you going to be a task? And, like, when you walked in, you already had it laid out as saying, this is my plan, this is what I want to do, I'm ready to invest in this. I could just see, like, that doesn't surprise me. Like, the story is, like, your experience is, that's an awesome experience, to be able to walk in and do that. But it doesn't surprise me as an employer being able to see something like that, because you are getting interviews of, well, what do you want? Well, I want a good job where I fit in and I can contribute.
I was straight up just like, walk in there.
It's something that's like,
you. How much money are you going to cost me?
How many interviews you've taken, that are like that? So to come across someone who hard charged and has their stuff together, there's a lesson to be taken out of that, is that if you actually take the time to say, what do I want to do? How am I going to get there? What do I need to get there? What are my resources? And you get yourself prepped, you'd be surprised how many companies do have that just don't advertise it. Because you're going to want someone that's experienced. But if you come across like, man, I could train this guy and get them moving if I just give him this. If I can just give him this, this person's going to kill it for me. That's an investment worth taking. No. So.
And again, it goes back to a lot of the proactiveness and selling yourself. I mean, and we deal with it every day with a lot of the guys, and not a lot of the guys. I can't say that. With some of the guys, are always just like, I'm not going to sit there and go work, stocking shelves at Lowe's for $14 an hour when I sit there and I've been to combat. And I'm just like, okay. So did you get your degree while you were in combat?
Right.
Yeah. Well, no. So what did you do? Well, I was an infantryman. Okay, so are you looking to be a cop?
I shoot, rifle, I follow. Like, what?
I mean, like it's no, you volunteered, bro. Like you didn't have a plan after high school, so you volunteered to go. You can't expect everybody to jump through hoops for
treat
you.
it like a mission.
And that's what when I was about to get out, one of my sergeants who had gotten out of the military, he did his 4 years, got out, and then came back in because
retread.
Yeah, like, hey, this is the only stuff for me. He goes, when I got out, he goes, guess what? Hard reality is, you think you're going to walk out to a cushy job just because you're a veteran? He goes, I got out and I was bussing tables in L.A. He goes, you want to talk about some of the most humbling, embarrassing shit to know what I've gone through to be able to do that? He goes, that's why I'm back here, because I couldn't cut it out there. He goes, but you know what? When you get out, first thing, get a job. Whatever it is, get a job. Reacclimate to civilian life, and get in something where you can at least tolerate it for a year.
Yep.
Once you get that, and you get that back, your sense of your surroundings, and during that year, research. Find out what you want to do, and then do it. He goes, don't sit back and then, like you said, not a hand out, a hand up. If you can get in contact with a veteran organization, do it.
So around that time, I ran into Blake and started teaching him how to read.
Right.
Write.
It was so
You can read?
dude. I at least know the letters of the alphabet now. There's 20,
It's like that
26?
29.
Shit. That's a big one. Huh?
The National Conservation Society. Yeah. So
I want to give a shout out to Miss Moneypenny on here. She's actually amazing. She just popped up on here and she said, "Love us all." Just so a lot of people don't know, she's probably got one of the biggest hearts of just amazing woman up in the Flint area.
I think I met her at Vehicle City.
She donates so much to kids, to veterans, to patients, to so many people, and she's really like, I love sitting there like just seeing her get excited about stuff. Like gets me excited just because of the fact that she does have so much energy. But
that's awesome support.
it definitely like seeing everything that she like when we were getting ready to do the resource center up there in Flint and we were getting ready to do a lot of stuff, like she was all in. Like she was bringing kids supplies. She still is now. She's going around donating stuff all over Flint right now out of her own pocket.
that's amazing.
Just trying to get people.
That's
Good work.
we appreciate that absolutely.
I mean, I definitely want to give you love you, Miss Moneypenny.
She's got to be a Bond fan, right?
Oh, she just dropped off $500 in toys. She said.
Wow.
Nice.
So
Toys for Tots.
I bet
And the
those
sad thing
Marines
about
love
it
that.
is, she's in there saying she dropped off $500 in toys when it was 3-4 days ago. She might correct me on this. She was ripped off $950.
Wow.
Providing because everybody always hears me talk about like the medicated Kool-Aid. The RSO Kool-Aid for like
She makes that?
Yeah, she's the one who makes it.
I did meet her. She
I mean,
was
dude,
actually
it's
very
phenomenal.
sweet.
They take RSO that they use for like battling cancer, stuff
Yeah.
like that. That's more of your body relaxation stuff, and they do a water soluble inside of Kool-Aid. And they every time we go up there, she's always just giving us bottles upon jugs of it for free to just say, give these out to vets that have their carts. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
It was funny when I brought my partner up there, Jeff, and you guys were all sitting there like, "Who wants Kool-Aid?" He was like, kind of looking at me, and he was like, "What?
Oh,
Kool-Aid?
never mind.
Okay."
I guess they got enough bad publicity. She got her money today, so she gave it away.
Good deal.
Wow.
So she wrote it off as a loss, evidently already, and then she got the money back and was like, I'll just donate it.
I think they call that integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
absolutely.
massive amounts of integrity. So
Well, and it's few and far between, and you guys know the way I am about how paranoid I am. I don't trust anybody. Like I keep everybody at like a distance, and like she's
One arm's distance for your safety.
For your safety, like yeah, I'm already trying to get approval from the lawyers for like figuring out some type of mental handicap to where I can just start twitching and throat chopping people and just blame that on like PTSD or something. I just walk around, and just be like doing this, and then, you suck.
Just throwing knife hands like daggers.
instead of GI Joe, GI Jarhead.
It's a big thing running around the house now with even the pit. He'll take off running Toby. If you sit there and say something to my dog, dude, you sit there and say knife hand engaged, he perks up like looking now because it's like I'll walk by him now and just be like knife hand engaged, and I'll just like chop him in the neck. So like, even my chick, like everybody, like I'll sit there and walk in the house and say knife hand engaged, like everybody just kind of like tucks their chin.
Protect your neck.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I got a leather neck. I'll be all right.
Oh, public sharing. Well, Miss Moneypenny said if anybody needs her to give her a call. So she's definitely a huge
Great.
supporter up there in the Flint area. And we'll definitely get in touch with you, hon. No, but there's just a lot of support right here in Michigan all the way around the board. And it's unbelievable with like the employers coming forward, the people coming forward, trying to get these resources connected. And like when you were sitting there saying that there's a lot of civilians that truly care, that aren't military, like Scott. Scott Taylor, give him a big shout out. Amazing guy.
He is. He was.
Spicer.
Gary Spicer, another amazing, amazing individual. Just I don't even know where to start with him. You got like Dr. Phillips. Deb Henson's.
Take the time. They didn't have that experience. But they take the time to get to know the people that did have that experience. I've never once, with those people outside of Deb, just because I haven't met her, is I heard go, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Because you don't know exactly what I mean. But it's more of a, empathetic approach of, like.
I can only imagine.
I feel for you, sharing similarities, saying, this is the only thing I kind of compare it to, and allowing the person that they're talking to kind of draw their own conclusion out of that. Like, let me, if you're kind of jamming the pieces together for me, it's not going to do anything. If I'm doing it myself, it's going to be something that sticks and resonates. So, I mean, I think that is, very important, is that if you're sitting there at home right now and you are a veteran and you're listening and you're having trouble, getting outside your shell or getting outside of, whatever confines, you think are around you or are created around you, is get out of it. Whatever way that you can, is that when you get out and you network, you're going to find people like this.
Yep.
And it's not to say that everybody that you run into, you're going to find
Yeah.
over here, but I'm just saying, it's like you're going to meet people. Like, there's, we've got five vets sitting right here that, you could reach out to, and I guarantee you, 5 more other people that I don't know that you can be introduced to that can become part of your network and get you going in that direction where you can improve your life. So,
I mean, we all got to where we're at right now because we had help from other vets.
I definitely didn't do it by myself.
No.
That's right.
And I mean, Justin's sitting next to me, man. We've helped each other more than, I mean, he's put us in, he put me in contact with the Fiana group, and we're trying to make connections through my family for realty stuff. It's just sometimes I wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't have had the opportunities that he set me up with for Driving for America, or just being there when, as vets, sometimes you just need to talk to somebody, and not even about military, just I need
Anything.
to go talk about something to get my mind off of this.
Yeah.
And that's, like you said, if you're listening, don't be afraid, man.
I think he's been over so many times that he's blown out the springs on my futon. I think he's been over the futon.
I don't think that was me, buddy.
And the best way to explain that, I've said it a million times, like, you're not going to clear a house by yourself.
No.
You're not going to engage an enemy by yourself unless something really bad's happened. I mean, you're not going to do it, even in the military situation, whether you were motor T, whether you were infantry, no matter what you did, you never did it alone.
Right.
So, and that's the whole message of Odin's Outcast. You're never alone, because it's a simple fact that you weren't expected to do that alone. So why are you doing this alone?
Exactly.
If you've already pushed yourself away from your family, if you push your way away from your friends and everything else, call us. Like, honestly, I'm not going to judge you. I don't really give a rat's ass. Hopefully you can take my craziness and my razzing, because I know I'm not right in the head, and I prick everybody. So it's just like, it's kind of,
You
hey,
do?
it is what it is.
Shut up.
No.
I feel if we start talking about, like, some of our experiences, if, you were thinking, like, mine's too crazy or too this, you might be the one sitting in the chair, and I might be the one laying on the couch being like, Jesus Christ, this guy's been through some
Usually
things
when
that's not so crazy.
Mine's usually like, it's like that. It's like after you start talking to them for a few minutes, they're like sliding the chair back. Like, it's like, my problems don't seem so bad
just
now.
going to back up a little
But I
bit.
mean, it's kind of those things, like, you find comfort knowing that, you're not solo. And, like, it's life. Like, there's going to be points where you're going to have to get through it on your own. Like, that's your accountability. Like, hey, I have to get up today and do this and get these certain things done. But if you're having a day where it is hard or you're hitting parts, like, being able to reach out and just be like, man, I don't know what it is. I'm in this funk. Like, I can't get out of it. I literally want to rage on everybody where I go, or I don't have the energy to get out the door today, or whatever it may be, is that through the people that I do know and the outlets that have been created, and a lot of them, our vets, you call them, and they're like, yeah, come on over, dude. Like,
Yep.
I got this going on. Get out of your routine. Let's go do this. I tend to find it quickly snaps me right out of it, and I'm like, man, I was stressing over nothing. Or I
Right.
was making this.
Right.
I
a
just
bigger
found this
problem
really
than I
cool
really
thing
needed.
on here.
What is it?
I don't know.
Is it making your face all weird?
Yeah, it's like doing all kinds of stuff. That's how people do
want to hit
this
that
stuff.
thing since I came
He looks like a big kid right now. He's like,
Having fun.
it's like a
I got,
Snapchat filter.
I don't know what it is. It's trying to put ears on me and all kinds of stuff.
Are you on,
oh,
like,
I got
some
butterflies.
Snapchat
Are you on a Snapchat filter
I'm on
right now?
Instagram right now, like playing around. So I don't know. I kind of like saw squirrels and just I got a oak leaf thing on my head now.
Whoa, you are regal.
Special. Very regal.
Okay, Caesar.
Yes. I don't know what happened.
Is there a helmet application in that one?
I'm trying to get it right now.
Got to be something for the new Call of Duty.
Oh, I got a helmet on.
Oh,
I'm good to go. I'm flying. Wait a minute. Where'd my glasses go? There they are. Oh, yeah. I'm rocking on this.
you're such a nerd.
Oh, man. All right. And it's more or less getting out there, and it goes back to the preventative stuff. Like what we're sitting there saying, it's like getting a lot of these guys to move forward and understand things. And that's when we were talking with, George. So they're saying that like the SEPs and TAPs, they need to reformat that entire system, get away from the job fair and start getting guys better prepared for what civilian life's really like. Because when you've got these guys on bases, you've got them in a bubble.
Yeah.
They don't really know what's going on outside with anything, and they're just simply relying on whatever somebody's telling them or whatever the case is. They go home like on leave maybe once or twice a year, if that. So you're not really experienced.
Like? You're with family, you're partying with friends. Or
You're partying.
on vacation somewhere.
So you've got somebody
not
that's
realistic.
transitioning from high school, living with their parents, into the military, living with their parents, the government, and then just being pushed out to where you're just expecting them somewhere along the way to just kind of pick certain traits up, like balancing checkbooks or bank accounts or paying bills on time or paying car payments, apply for home loans or how to
Interview skills.
or how to build a resume.
Right.
Anything like that. And that's some of the stuff
We did that one, didn't we, Blake?
Yes, a couple times.
Well, I mean, sitting there and that's what we were talking about with George, is for them to sit there and just actually start preparing these guys properly to where a year prior to their EAS, they just sit there and get them in, run a background check, credit check on them. That right there will tell you the two different directions you need to send that soldier, Marine, airman, whoever it is. If they've got a bunch of issues with like their background, then obviously he's got something going on. So let's go ahead and get him talking with a psychologist or a social worker or something along those lines and figure out what is going on with it.
And that's
if it's
preventative.
Exactly. It's all preventative. Now you've got a year to work with this guy and figure out what's going on before he exits.
Right.
It's almost like you need two basic trainings. You show up for basic training, you're stripped out of your civilian clothes, you're thrown into a uniform, you become part of the machine. Well, now you're leaving the machine. So being able to strip
You're a
some
bad
of that
part.
down.
I mean, that's the way they look at it, though.
Well,
It's
and-
just
and-
like,
and
oh,
so-
this part's not lubed anymore. Let's pull it out, throw another one in there, and get rid of
And
it.
to be honest, the way that you kind of get thrown out the back end, you feel
My
like
helmet's
that. You
gone.
feel like you're discarded parts. But Jesus Christ, is that I think too is that part of that should be stripped away when you leave. Like there should be like I don't want to call it like a reintegration thing because it seems so systematic, but like a basic training to civilian life. Like hey, these are the things, the basic skills that you're going to have to learn. Like the things that he was talking about, but literally it takes a while when it's been inbred in you for so long and it's so strong
Right.
ingrained and what
You get
it
used
is
to a
is,
pattern, all of a sudden now it's 180 degrees different.
Yeah.
Well, just even showing
No
up
structure,
on your
no
own. Like
nothing.
you're not showing up to a formation, showing up to appointments, making sure that you're there. Like,
Dude,
having
I still
adjustment,
force
doing
myself
that.
to get up at 6 a.m. just to stay in a routine. Like
I don't know. I mean, what about like 6:30, 6:45?
No. Like, and for me, 6 a.m. sleeping in. Like, I was used to forever, 4:30, you're up in PTN, before PT starts at 0600. So now it's like, well, I ain't got to do that. I'll just wake up 6. So, it's getting that routine established, and that's a lot of the stuff, like, since Piney's moved over to Howell, a lot of the stuff, like, seeing him getting into a routine, it's just like, I love it because seeing him getting up, going to the gym every day, seeing him, staying consistent with certain things. Same thing with like Mike down in Ann Arbor. You know, it's like when you start seeing veterans start falling into a place or into a pattern or start falling into an actual schedule, you support them. You back up. You don't disrupt it. You just assist them if they need it. You know, and that's where a lot of people, they start arguing with schedules or stuff, and you see a lot of, like right now, and, you know, God bless her, you know, Jennifer, you know, she knows this time of the year I do a lot of deflecting. You know, it's like I can't sleep. You know, everything's all distracted. So it's like I'm running. I'm on the go. She's leaving the house at 6:30 in the morning. I'm leaving right behind her. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going someplace. Whether it's to work out, go to the library, I don't care. I'm doing something. And she knows that I'm not coming home going to bed till 10, 11 o'clock. But instead of her fighting me on that, that's her simply saying, you know, supporting it. And that's another thing, which is actually
And if you don't have that support, getting with people that do want to support that.
Exactly.
And I don't want to skip over that. Like what you just said is that I remember coming back and sleeping in late. Like I remember just, you know, because I was like, man, I haven't been able to do this, you know, but I also didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea what to do with myself. I knew I had a 30-day grace period, you know, that I kind of set for myself, but I was already like enrolled in school and had things that were set up. But what you did say is that at 6:30 you were out the door right behind her, whether you were going to the gym, going to the library, or you didn't know like what you had to do. You just knew that you had to get out and start doing something.
Because
I think
otherwise
that's
you get complacent.
Well, I think that's a major step. The longer you kind of sit in it, and you give yourself that opportunity not to do something. I really wish I could see this. That's how you fall into a bad routine.
I got a bow tie in my beard right here. I got a top hat, an eyeglass, and a pipe.
A monocle?
Yep, whatever it's called.
And
A
you
monocle.
must be the Monopoly guy.
Monopoly man didn't have a pipe.
Oh, good
Oh,
call.
you did?
Yeah.
Oh, you did have a pipe in that?
No, he had a cane.
That's true.
No. Sorry, I keep getting distracted
Big
because
Daddy
this thing
Kane.
keeps popping up over here on the side, out of the corner of my eye, and it's messing me up. I'm trying to turn it off, but it won't go away. Ha! There it goes. All right.
I did have this question for Shay. Do you guys ever post events that you go to? Like ahead of time? Like, let's say if I was listening to this and I want to follow you on Facebook or Instagram or something like that.
We've been staying
if
up
I
on
just want to
Facebook.
come meet you or just maybe try to get a face-to-face, and I don't know, I don't want to open Pandora's box for you where you got a bunch of people trying to flood you at an event. I mean, obviously, if you want to do something like this, be respectful and wait after the event to approach these guys because they're working. But if I wanted to do that, could I follow and be like, oh, you're going to this event?
Yeah, you
Try to
just
catch
give us a follow on Facebook. We keep up on it, post everything. And then also on our website, we have a contact page.
Okay.
So that'll shoot right to our emails and our cell phones, and then we can be right in touch with you.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, man, I
meant
just
to
got
ask that,
blackmailed.
No, you're good.
Mama
I
Browder,
forgot it. And I was
Gold
like,
Star Mom just took a picture of one of those shenanigans I was doing and just posted it all over Facebook.
That's what you get. That's what you
"What's
get.
good?"
She goes, haha, it's on Facebook now. Love y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks. But sorry, no, and sorry, I didn't mean to step on what you were sitting there saying a minute ago with having that support with these guys and a lot of the stuff. I mean, that's it. Like, I mean, sitting there being able to run down the street, talk to these guys, or, you know, just being able to actually talk and communicate to where, you know, luckily she understands it because she works in the VA, so it's a little bit easier for her to understand. You know, same thing with these guys. Like, if I say certain things with anybody in this room, you guys are going to recognize something. You're just going to be like, all right, something's going on, you know. So right off the bat, just in there, you know, like, and that's what a lot of guys, they need to understand and recognize certain things. Like, I don't know why I'm not sleeping. I don't know why this. I don't know why that. Because subconsciously, you're deflecting things inside your head that's got you spinning or blocking something or suppressing something that you don't want to think about. So your mind and body's working overtime to keep that suppressed. So your body's like, let's go, dude. Let's do something. We got to focus on something else, or that, you know, that's going to come out.
And then, like, it's the body will, like, I learned this through going through when I talked to my therapist at the VA, is if you suppress it while you're awake, your mind will play. It'll bring it to you in your subconscious while you're sleeping because it has to have an outlet.
Yeah.
You have to. You can't. As much as being in the military, they told us never show weakness, never show emotion. Like, I'm not saying that you have to go and sit on a couch and with a box of tissues, but
I always do mine hitting a heavy bag. I
it's
just have a box of
Exactly.
tissues now.
Someone just opens the door and is like, okay. Shuts it right back.
But it's having an outlet, and even if
I need to go to my happy place.
right, why don't you chug on over to Mamby Pamby Land, you jackwagon? But that's the thing is do something to where you can get it out, but be positive.
Yep.
One of my mentors that I had, one of the really great piece of advice that she had for me, she said, think about, because I was talking to her, I was at that point in my life where I was just like, I feel like I'm putting on this face, like this facade, and I am just, by the end of the day, I am just worn out, and I'm not even resorting back to myself, I'm resorting back to a very negative version of myself because I'm not active. I'm not doing what you want, what I want to do. And she was like, well, think how much energy you're expending on trying to be what you think you need to be, opposed to being who you are and improving that. And like, when then she said that, it was kind of like a light bulb went off, and I was like, okay, well, why am I doing this? Why am I avoiding some of these things? And again, it was a long road for me to kind of get to that tipping point to do that, but again, like at that time I didn't have as many resources. There wasn't. I wasn't maybe active enough about it, or I was closed off or trying to ignore it. But there is something in that. If you are feeling that, or you're like, I'm this way when I'm at work, and then I'm this way when I'm at home. Well, why? It'd be much less stressful.
I'm just consistently a crazy dick.
But I'm saying, like, there's something to that.
That'll do
That have those people that I meet. Like, the thing is like, not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to dislike you. But if you're trying to accommodate so many things, like, you're going to lose yourself eventually and become someone that you don't even recognize. Like, you don't even know what you like. You don't even know what you enjoy doing. And, like, these are the things that, don't be afraid to follow that path. But be healthy about it. Be positive about it, and make sure that, if you don't know where to go, that you're exploring the assets and the resources around you to get to that point.
Yeah. I agree with you, absolutely, and that's what I just tell everybody. I'm just a crazy jerk or a dick or whatever. So that way when they meet me, they're just like,
But,
well, I mean, you're not that crazy. It's just like, oh, thanks.
I've talked to you about my friend Derek Carver a lot. I mean, I think you follow him and things like that. And when people, I remember when I introduced him to my family, I had like a bunch of extended family out, and he wanted to come out, and we ended up like going back to Scott's place and playing a bunch of games and stuff. But they were like, so what's your friend Derek like? And I'm like, he's a huge dick. I was like, but he is by far the most loyal person. If he's your friend, he's your friend. I've heard people either you love him or you hate him. I personally love him. I get a kick out of him. But that's also a dude that follows his own path. Like, I don't see him bend. I don't see him act different. Like, he knows when to be professional. But, like, he's definitely, his personality is coming through. And I think instead of being afraid of what someone might think about who you are as a person, more people appreciate you just being genuine. Like,
right.
I'm just being myself. I don't have to guess, like, okay, well, if I see you like this in one setting and this in another, it's like, well, what side do I know? Is that even who you are, or is that just the facade that you're putting on? So you can say that, but I think that's healthy. And if you are out there wondering and feeling like you gotta mask whatever it is that you're going through, like, don't mask it. Like, own it.
Yep.
And figure out how you can improve it.
Own that.
Or grow it.
Own it. Own it.
We all have.
Absolutely.
Be who you are and just deal with it. Suck it up, buttercup. Change your socks, drink some water, charge on, move forward.
Take some Motrin.
Take some Motrin.
Some dirt on it.
Be
rub
all
some-
that you can be.
No.
How about no, you crazy Dutch bastard?
I did get this question. My sister's listening down in Georgia, and she said, "What if you don't have Facebook? How could she follow me?"
Aha. Good one.
TheFianaGroup.com.
Yeah. Visit our
She's not
website.
one of the cool kids that's on Facebook.
I'm not on Facebook.
I get that.
Neither
That's what she
is
said.
neither is
That's
Juice.
All right, so you can just visit our website. Get a hold of us there.
Is that the Fiana group?
Yep.
Well, there's your
The Fiana
To
Group. The Huh.
answer.
Can you spell this for us?
Why don't we practice this?
T.
Fiana is spelled F.
Foxtrot.
I. India. Alpha.
November Alpha.
Okay. I was about to say.
Do you
can
not? Do you
remember
think I
this?
not know the phonetic
Oh,
alphabet?
I was just asking. You said you
Come
knew
on.
the 26 letters.
26 letters.
We can still
Y'all
see
just
the knuckle
confused like half the audience right now.
All right, yeah, that is true.
My knuckles don't reach down that far. I'm tall.
FIA. Yeah, NNA
Yeah.
group.
Right.
TheFianaGroup.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're clowning around a little bit, but yeah, we're just really happy that Blake can spell.
Yeah.
Oh, look. Woohoo! That was a lot of work for me to put in. This is what,
It was. We've hours
7
and hours,
years in the making.
hours and hours of training.
And pop-up books.
Right.
Nope, I think
Coloring
we're
A lot of
sections.
colors, a lot of
Yep,
hats.
we got to get off here. We're running over on time. All right,
Wow,
what's
wow.
up, people?
All
How
right.
much? Wait a minute. Let's see. How much time? I'm having to end that video feed, and then we've got
No, we're over.
end time. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. We're running over, so that means yep. Okay. Well,
Sport.
anybody want to say what's up? Bye bye or nothing? Okay. All
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
See ya.
See you.
right. See y'all next week.
Every time I get off this, my ears are just
Freaking migraine right now.
Oh yeah, that thing's still rocking. I'm over here dancing and